Today is July 31st, which means it is the birthday of two of the people I've met since starting Saving the World. One of whom is one of my anti-gurus who has become a very good friend. And another one is one of my co-founders at OFC. And I have a conversation with her in an hour. So I'm going to use this time to do what I was procrastinating against, which is this exact topic. I basically had to figure out how to save the entire world in order to feel worthy as a human being. Then I went out and for the last decade, almost a decade, went and did what was mine to do, bumped up against my comfort zone, and created solution raising and peer coaching and weave. I figured out how to save the world in 4 to 6 hours a week. And then last September, even that got diminished. I'm now at the point where I cannot improve any single area of my life without other people. And that wouldn't be so much of a problem if I wasn't allergic to asking and accepting help, if I wasn't just like extremely hyper independent long before becoming disabled, still hyper independent. And I don't know how to do this next piece, because this next piece, whatever it is, and I don't know what it is, requires other people. And there's that scene in The Good Place where when Janet's going to get reset, they go to reset her and she begs for her life and she keeps explaining, yep, that's part of my system. That's what I do. It's okay though. I'm just AI. I'm just this thing that you reset, and it's okay that you reset me, but I do beg for my life. I'm whatever the opposite of that is. Like, I'm like, I need help. And people come and I'm like, I'm good. Because it hurts independence. I know what I need is in-person community, like a family unit in a house where my food, where everything is figured out so I can jubilee and dismantle capitalism. How that happens, what that looks like, I don't know. I don't know. I know we're living in Vancouver. I know it's a big, beautiful house. I know it's with people who are committed to my mission and my purpose and living their lives. And we're not going to be doing it a ridiculous amount of time a week. 10 hours a week max. And that's when I'm healthy. That's when I can give more. Living within my then. But I decided to do this video specifically on not just owning that piece, right? I literally fixed the entire world so that we wouldn't need to relationship, meaning that because it's hard to ask, like, that piece is hard, so technology can make it easier. So I created a technological user cooperative to make it all easier, right? But it still is, everything's chicken and egg, and we need all of the technology to make any of the technology, except no, we don't, because it's all one-to-one relationships. And quite frankly, everything that is pure coaching and weave and solution raising could happen tomorrow without technology, before we have the technology. And I think that's the more powerful piece. Everyone I know with a technology project is so focused on theirs being the answer, and then they've put the money in and it exists, and now they need it to be even more of the answer. But it wasn't an answer. It was only an answer for them. It wasn't an answer for everybody else. They didn't make it for everybody else. They made it for themselves. They didn't work with other people. I have been working with other people all along the way. I have worked with other people in Together Tech. I already knew the project of projects, I already knew how to save the world. I already knew the user technological cooperative, how powerful technology is, and how much more powerful and less risky it is when we do it together with transparency and democracy. Not democracy over each other's lives, democracy over the technology itself and what we want it to do, which is not control each other's lives, but is empower us individually and collectively. So I already knew I felt like I knew how to save the world before I ever encountered Game B. And then I encountered a bunch of other people who also think they know how to save the world, right? Or at least are happy to have found a group of people. There were people who wanted to understandably have a project. Like, what are we doing here? What's happening? That was never what Game B was. Game B wasn't a singular project. It was a placeholder in the future of an omni-win, everyone wins, anti-rivalrous society. What comes after Game A, which is what we're living currently. And creating Together Tech the name was already there. I was already my name. I already had it. I already had a website, but Together Tech became the project of projects, Game B projects, because everyone had a project and no one wanted to let go of theirs to work on a new one. No one wanted to let go of theirs to work on someone else's, but everyone was like, well, if people would just come on board mine, we'd be good. And no one seemed to be able to meta like I could and be like, right, but we all feel that way. You all get that, right? We all feel that way. So no. So project of projects. Saturday morning roundtables, we get together and have a conversation about our project, what is stopping us, and we work independently, collectively together, right? It's our own little baby we're working on, but we're working on it together. And we all learned a lot through Together Tech. In my mind, Together Tech, or at least my passion around Together Tech, dissipated when we went through a process with one of my friends who has now passed away. He has an amazing project, protocol.love. The process was good, but working through it with the other founders of Together Tech and Raymond literally destroyed me. Like it was like I lost all passion in the project of projects after working through what would be like collective group work on our like founding documents of like, well, how are we going to decide things? What is this? And it was just like the monotony of getting to the nitty gritty. I just had zero passion at that point. And so I went on strike in September of 2022. I couldn't do anything else until the universe gives me something. And I'm still on strike, but I didn't stop Together Tech because it was only once a month. And then January 7th, it's here on YouTube. You can see our last meeting. And that's also the day that the 2023 stuff started. It's the day Jane posted the TikTok standing up for Ashley Miller. It would be 3 more days until Allie found it and created a circus around Jessica's death while attacking Jane for whatever Allie misconstrued on Jane. That's its own channel. We will get to that. So Together Tech and Project of Projects in existence. Bentley comes up with project raising, where we have a person, we concentrate on their project, help them within an hour, like barn raising. Everybody wants to have their project raised, but no one else is really that interested in coming raising other people's projects. So it doesn't work, right? Although I love raising people's projects, I don't want to do that continually. I did that. I had the conversations with all the people with projects. I broke their projects for them, mostly with consent. Mostly they knew who and what they were getting into when they contacted me. Except for the odd time someone would show up at project roundtables and I forgot they didn't know who and what I was. And I would like, oh, here's what's wrong with your project. Oh, I didn't ask first, did I? Sorry, my bad. But that is Together Tech. And the other 2 founders had sense-making projects. They still have sense-making projects. And thank God we need sense-making projects. But a lot of it is like, what do you trust? And how do you then sell it to the masses? And how do you sell it when like there's a lot of issues. It is not, even when you have black and white information in science, just presenting it is hard enough, let alone that there is no black and white information. And so everything, it's hard. Sense making is hard. So, but thank God, because Game B, that's where a lot of the projects exist in, is the sense-making realm, is the information realm. And I was obsessed with the information realm because I want more information. I wasn't able to read after my radiation on my brain, but I still needed more information because more information. No, I didn't. I needed to sit with the information I had already. That's what the plan was from the universe, from God. But it felt like I still need more information. Like if we just get more information, we can fix it. And now I'm like, oh yeah, no, there is no amount of information where you're going to have enough. It is about moving forward to the best of our ability and dealing with what happens and keep continually doing that. And it's never going to be perfect. And yet I'm going to constantly need it to be perfect because of me. So it's a fun. Together Tech led into, I have this open in the other tab so that I can look, oh, why don't we just do the edit button and that'll be easier. So Together Tech, Jubilee Creates something amazing. So then I have the YouTube channel. I don't know if these are in the order I actually made them, but I already had, I think, the Jubilee Creates something amazing channel. So that one's the one that documents more of this because it has, I don't even know when the first video is. I could go and look that up. it at one point in time was called, I think, Jubilee Saves the World by Meandering Through Life. Jubilee Creates Something Amazing by Meandering Through Life. I know I don't have a brain that would be able to explain how I got to where I got to in 10 years, in 5 years. So I wanted to document it along the way so that past me could explain it along the way. And I also have I need to process a lot of shit. So talking to video camera works for me to process. It's way better than a journal and a diary that, believe me, I have a lot of. But I haven't really kept a journal, probably around the same time that I stopped reading, because although they're not the same, they are the same. And quite frankly, I wish past me had written nicer and not handwritten, because current me cannot read it. But besides the point. That's the point. What are we on? Jubilee Creates Something Amazing YouTube channel. It's just documenting. Meanwhile, it gets the odd copyright strike, the odd thing that means that I can't put up a thing for a week. And I have a Facebook group that is only me in it, called the Anti-Loneliness Project, that every time I've been on YouTube strike, or like there's been a thing on YouTube that I can't post, I post in there. And it's only me. I'm the only person in it. In fact, in order to create a group, I had to put my brother in it and then take him out. And I did at one point invite somebody else there so she could see how I process, because I was basically inviting her to do the same for herself and her projects. But aside from that, just me in there, just processing. And even going back and watching, like, of course, the perfect timing, like every time. So Jubilee Creates Something Amazing is a YouTube channel that probably it shows more the journey, because it was supposed to be just showing these GPS coordinates. The GPS doesn't give you the next direction until you've done the past one, right? Make the next left, and it's like you're turning right in 2 kilometers, right? So that it was about cataloging my GPS coordinates. Ayahuasca and yoni massage, I believe, are 2 of the big GPS coordinates that were big. I didn't realize Nicole joining doTERRA, Kyle Cease being Me Too, this whole Allie thing, or their own events, that's 2023. So I encountered Game B because of Remzi through Twitter. The other person I met on Twitter was Nicole, who joined doTERRA and had me fall down an anti-emblem rabbit hole. The Kyle Cease and Nicole thing both happened in 2020. And they were exactly what was meant to happen. So I could learn my lessons and whatever lessons they were meant to learn. And it's like, even the bad guys, even the events that I might see of as something that I wouldn't want someone to do, are still part of the greater whole. They're all still part of it. So, what if Ann Allison hadn't Me Too'd Kyle Cease on February 19th, 2020? What if Nicole had never invited me to a doTERRA pitch in the middle of a pandemic, and my judgy self say, what if that hadn't happened? What if Allie hadn't posted a friends only video centering herself in Jessica's death yet again on my birthday? Those are all things I don't think should have happened, right? I'm judgmental about those things. Kyle should not have slept with a client. Nicole should not have invited me or anyone to a doTERRA pitch during a pandemic and given faulty science. doTERRA shouldn't exist with its essential oils and horrible MLM practices. No MLM should. Nonetheless, all of that meant that I get to create WeWeave. I get to create peer coaching, all of the things that are going to be what saved this world, in my opinion. That was the piece I meant to give 14 minutes ago, dear God, which is now gone. See, it left. It'll come back again. My brain doesn't want to talk about it, clearly. You don't need help. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you are talking about. That's important. I'm going to write it down next time. I don't even have a pen here. So Jubilee Creates Something Amazing, but I didn't want that channel to it's my baby. I don't want it to be at risk, because it has me processing, it has my journey, so I also had, I don't know what it was Idea Cafe, but I don't know if it started as Idea Cafe, the Solution Raising Idea Cafe channel, which is a channel dedicated towards those small group conversations. First Idea Cafe, which was a half an hour, then hour-long conversation around a question where we each took a turn answering it, and then we had an open-ended discussion for the remainder of the time. And then right before the pandemic, solution raising got invented, where it was an hour-long conversation that is designed to co-create an adjacent possible solution to a complex issue. And again, I don't remember where I was going with that, except that they saved the world. Solution raising has its own channel, still has its own channel. It has literally, I'm like, I've saved the world. It has less than 100 subscribers. We have tackled many of the complex issues and come up with a powerful adjacent possible solution to slavery, to climate change, to education, to food, all of it. But solution raising is not designed to be watched. It's not a spectator sport. It's not designed to be something someone sits through and it's supposed to be participated in. You're supposed to participate in co-creating a better world, participate in the conversation so you can actually do the 3 parts of the solution raising. And even if your idea isn't the best one, you still feel like you are part of co-creating whatever the group comes to. Because the idea of solution raising would be a bunch of conversations, and the best idea would get voted in. Solution raising now, I'm like, right, that's because I had just everyday people, because literally anyone can come up with a solution to a hard, complex topic. So now I'm like, right, so celebrities. We need people who people care about listening to talk about issues they care about, who nobody ever asks them about anyway. They have the same boring conversation on every channel, right? The same podcast, the same interview on every channel. Whereas getting to actually talk for an hour, vent about what's happening in the world in a particular area, then talk about what a better, beautiful world looks like where that issue is solved, and then talk about what we could do right the F now with 10,000 people and $100,000. 10,000 voluntary people and $100,000, right? They each put in $10 because they want the solution we've created that we're creating in this half an hour. That podcast with Ashton Kutcher talking about human trafficking, or Gabor Mate talking about addiction and community, really anyone who comes with an audience and an interest they care about brings with them more than 10,000 people who are willing to fund what their parasocial celebrity came up with. So that's currently, but I can't do a single effing thing that I'm not currently doing, which I can't even schedule one-on-one conversations anymore with people. So somebody else has to step in and do whatever part that I'm not able to do, which is, I mean, for the podcast, it's literally everything but showing up and having the conversation, including contacting people to be the guest, right? The celebrity, the person. And that's an entire community of people, right? An entire community being like, Ashton Kutcher, if you go and talk to one person for 1 hour, you're going to do more for human trafficking than all of Sound of Freedom and their farce of a whatever they're pretending they're doing, right? Go see a movie. That'll be helps human trafficking. Will it? Will it? You're going to connect those dots, please. So where are we still? Solution raising. Then this year, I think we're on to this year, when I figured out where the one-to-one connections were the key to humanity. There was a point in time where I told my siblings, who they don't think I know how to save the world, but they have heard me say I know how to save the world for a long time. And I was like, I don't even feel like I need to dismantle capitalism right now. Like, it's already dismantled. We just need to point out how one-to-one connected we are, and people will see it and it will dissolve. I'm not in that connection I was at the end of January, but I still have like access to the memory of having access to it, right? So there was ever a me who was like, right, we don't need to dismantle capitalism is crazy. And I love that. Because it is true. I was convinced. I thought I was going to need security because I thought anyone else could see what I could see on my Instagram profile. It was like, this is the key to the and it's true. Between my social media platforms, I have recorded exactly what I was meant to be recording when I was meant to be recording it across the last 5 years on dates I had. When I try to orchestrate it, it doesn't work. For instance, today's a bit of an orchestration because today is my friend's birthday. So this isn't orchestration. This is like I have a conversation with her in an hour and I want to do this before that because I know I won't be able to do it after. But this was up since yesterday. This is the video I've had to be making for a while. This is the video I'm going to post on my Facebook page that no one's going to watch. No one's going to see it. It's going to, right. Yes, exactly. Which is like, right. I know, which is what I was going to say before at the beginning, which is like, knowing how to save the world and not being able to communicate it, or hell, even being able to communicate it, knowing how to save the world is isolating, is lonely. And that people don't get that is so mind-blowing to me, because how do you not ever put yourself in someone else's shoes? It's just a natural process for me to constantly ask what it's like in someone else's shoes, that like that would like, even in the beginning when I knew how to save the world, I was like, oh dear God, if they, how is, you're not my friends and family, how is their obvious response not to come and break it for me, not to come and like listen to how I know how to save the world and either convince me I don't or help me with it? How is that not every single person's response? Because if somebody knows how to save the world, there's no other option than but to do it. There is no, right? You don't just like put it to the side and hope someone else has got it. That's not a possibility. If you knew how to save the world, what would you be doing? If you knew how to save the world, what would you be doing and not be doing? If you thought your child's best chance, all children's best chance, was what was coming through you, how would you be living your life, right? And that is what is happening. But at the same time, thinking you know how to save the world and nobody wanting to listen is isolating. And so this is the world I've been in for the last 5 or 6 years, was both like my world getting smaller while the idea got better. And now the idea is pure gold, and I am a fucking tree at the center of my van who can't do a fucking single thing. So this is where we currently are. And besides keep saying that, I'll just keep on the MeanGirls channel, because we haven't gotten to the MeanGirls channel yet, which is that there's the Together Tech channel, which was its own thing and then became the Together Tech channel. It's still the Together Tech channel. We might still have board meetings. Every single board meeting we have is either on the Together Tech channel that started after Jubilee Creates Something Amazing, or on the Jubilee Creates Something Amazing channel, because a lot of things started on the Jubilee Creates Something Amazing channel and then became their own. Except, oh no, the 2023, I started processing, as I do, my stuff on Unlisted, and then Allie did the thing on my birthday, and I got involved in the MeanGirls versus Lucky Girls that I thought was going to take a few weeks. I was convinced. I mean, especially since I was in that weird state at the end of January where I thought everything was coming together at that moment, right? Everything. Like, I was like, this is my Pretty Woman moment. Everyone in my family, everyone in my life is going to finally see I did know how to save the world. That has yet to happen. Well, we'll see. It might never happen. I don't need it to happen. I need the world to be saved. I don't need to be known for saving the world. In fact, I can see very much how, like, both of my siblings, who again do not think I know how to save the world, both of who've been listening to my technological user cooperative idea and my socialist anarchist self, it's just like what ends up coming out. They're both basically now creating global user cooperatives. They don't know it came through me. I'm like, whatever. If you both happen to be successful creating a global BlackRock and I don't get credit for it, I'm good. However, they're not going to be successful in it, because although they can acknowledge they're where I was 10 years ago, they can't acknowledge I'm not where I was 10 years ago. I've done some work. I've learned some things since then. Even my brother, who's had a world-saving project for around the same amount of time I have, hasn't been working with other people. He has a vision. He's paying for it. He's working through his vision about it. It might be something that will be more powerful than what I'm creating. At the same time, he's not learning his interpersonal skills, right? He's not learning how to work on a project with people that I have and haven't. Because the non-YouTube channel, the TikTok account, Solution Raising, I started a couple years ago. And TikTok is a weird little species. It's a weird little social media species where it's super easy to put up content. And so people don't understand what it is to be a content creator or what it is to be in a parasocial relationship. And that's everyone. That's TikTok. That's the creators. That's the users. That's me. That's all of us. And so I'm going to go with this as our origin story, because I don't know why else I would have started following Allie. I started following Allie because Allie was an autistic content creator who I believe we were going to do a collab with OFA, which is now OFC. And then I watched her bully and harm people. I was following her, and after enough time, I was like, "Why? Explain the lie. What did Jane do? I don't understand. Explain. Yeah, no, you are stalking them. I don't understand. Here's the definition of stalking. You are doing that, Allie. You're doing that." And then all of 2023 went down, where I figured out that the 2004 movies are important. That's its own thing. That's what created this channel. And I can't tell a story. None of the stories are linear, which is part of the problem. And then also, even when I'm trying to tell a linear story, it doesn't work. Because this one is on relationships and just on the YouTube channels and social media accounts. And the story told through that lens. And we can't seem to do it. So yay. So joining TikTok, OFC, we created an amazing project. 3 founders started it. 1 founder is remaining. And the project still exists. They just had an amazing, which I'm going to hear about today, virtual Pride event that I didn't attend, couldn't attend. This is part of my weirdness. There is a Discord community. There are many Discord communities, actually, that I am part of, that I am like, along my Discord side, there's Discord communities. I cannot participate in a Discord community. I hate Discord. I cannot be in Discord. The 2 servers I can participate in, one is my anti-guru Dan, who I'm no longer in that one, but that's how I got my logo. That's how I got, it was Dan constantly poking at me, getting me to troll. And Dan can get me to troll, no problem. The rest of the people on his project weren't so happy with my energy there, but Dan loved my energy there. His other people didn't. Anyway, that was what was my point of that? Oh, that was a Discord server I could participate in. I can have typed conversations with trolls. I can have typed conversations with my friend Jack all day long, which is what I realized around this time last year, that basically Jack was my best friend. I spent more time talking to Jack than I did to anyone else because I could. Even though, like, I still don't really, I mean, I get why. I have troll energy. Like, I can, if I don't give one single fuck what the outcome's going to be, right? If I don't care how it's impacting you, then I can do it. And if I care, then I can't. That's basically what it comes down to. And so if you're triggered by, like, anger, trolly energy, then I have energy all day long to type out words. But if I actually care about how it's, yeah, so that's the issue with Jack. And it was working through that whole process for a year of like, well, I still tried to be kind to Jack, but would get into these states of like push the right buttons and wouldn't be, and then would have to come back and redo my sovereignty and be like, it's not okay to be unkind just because he's unkind to you, and redevelop my sovereignty. And he was very helpful in that. Jack, anti-gurus, the events. Like I said, the events that I referred to at the beginning of 2023, when the Allison thing started, the Allie Priestley thing started, I kept referring to these 2 events that I'd gotten involved in before, and they were very much Kyle Cease being Me Too'd by an Allison on February 19th, 2020, and a Nicole, who I had met on Twitter, who I thought of as a fellow world saver, inviting me to a doTERRA pitch during a pandemic when unlimited spoons were both disabled, and like the all of it was bad in my opinion. She thinks I'm the bad guy for sure in that relationship. I reached out to her this year. That was part of what went down this year in Skype, was me reaching out to Nicole to have a conversation. She was like, whatever, that's a whole video in and of itself. So this year I started the Mean Girls versus Lucky Girls, Mean Girls or Sad Girls, deplatform the Mean Girls YouTube channel, because 1, I was working in the Mean Girl energy. I was like, yeah, we're going to play in this junior high energy. Thank you. On TikTok. And then I stopped doing it on TikTok and only on YouTube, both because I have some of that energy. Like I said, I literally feed off of trolls. I don't know why that is, but it's part of the grand design for sure, because it's helped in this process. My issue isn't that happens. It's that I can do that and I can't have the conversation. Like, I can't be part of the Discord server that I helped create and is an amazing community. Nope. Can't do that. Can't be part of the Game B one. Can't be part of any of them. And then the other one I can be a part of is the newer one from the 2023 one, because it's people that I know and it's smaller. And if it grows bigger, I probably won't be able to be part of that one either, which is my issue with the COFA one, is it's amazingly awesome and big and therefore complex, therefore too big for me. Therefore we started it on Signal. Signal wasn't too big for me, but even then, very soon I wasn't able to attend the meetings. I wasn't able to, there were more committees that anyone could be part of and keeping track of what's going on. It grew too big for Signal. It needed to be on Discord, and then it outgrew me, and I couldn't be part of it anymore. And although at some point I may be able to be part of it, it's literally right there. It's on my desktop. It's on my desktop. I don't understand. I've known for nearly a year, over a year probably, how important it is to have in-person community. Literally, I feel like this journey started with a person I want to talk to today. It was her, right? 90% certain it was her. Suggested A League of Their Own, the TV show, not the movie. Because the TV show shows Black women, specifically because it's a league of their own, right? But Black community, having community, and the white people like flailing at it. And I was like I watched it and I was like, I can see it. I can see that happening. And I can also see those white people, this white person cannot have access to what is being portrayed in that show. The community that is there is not ours. And it's we can't have that. And I don't even know how to explain why we can't have that. Why the flailing is the thing. And I can see the community and A League of Their Own it's a beautiful show. Go watch it. It's amazing. And there was something in it that whatever. It started the journey. I'm sure I was already well into the journey. And yet at the same time, I wasn't. I didn't do anti-racism work until it was the last thing to do. I was doing it all along. I didn't stop doing it. I wasn't it's not like I was blind to racism, but I was until the world was all based on ableism, and now I can see it's based on white supremacy, in a very real way. That the ableism came out of the white supremacy, not the white supremacy came out of the ableism, and they are still a little bit chicken and egg in my mind. It's are you sure? No, they're very intertwined. You don't get one without the other is basically what happens. And maybe there's a world where it isn't white supremacy, a different universe, and it's a different color that's supremacy. But nonetheless, it would lead to what we have. Ableism and a supremacy culture that is fucking over everyone. Fucks over everybody. And so now I'm at a state where both I can see how important it is. This is where I can tell the story a million different ways, which means I can't tell it at all because I can't pick a single story to tell. The racism in Game B that had been pointed out by everyone who comes into Game B, that it's a Facebook group, right? It's an open-ended group on Twitter. It's anyone who says they're part of Game B is part of Game B, even get kicked out of the group, can still say I'm Game B. No one can take that from you. It's just a weird placeholder label. But when you arrive in that space, it is full of a hell of a lot of white boomer men, white men, just white men. It's full of a lot of white men. There aren't the women ratio is not on par, and the anyone but white people is not on par, right? Very clearly, but it's an open-ended group. So people coming in and pointing, what do you suggest we do about it? What do you suggest happens, especially in an open group where there are no leaders? Anyone can do anything they want. That's what we're doing here, is we're exploring. So I had a conversation with my now passed over friend on racism in Game B, and we had very much that conversation. And he's another white guy, so we definitely had it through that lens, but through the lens of growing up with anti-racism work, which wasn't called that and shouldn't be called that because it's very specific, but when we were kids was more about treating people kindly regardless of their race, right? And so our brand of anti-racism is colorblindness, basically, and that wasn't exactly the conversation we had, and it was a 2 or 3 year ago conversation. But I also had a conversation again a week ago with this person Someone who's like very into anti-racist work, but like in a way that's like I'm like, so what have you done in the last few years? And he's like, I don't need to. I already did that. Like, I already finished that. You finished it? You finished it. I had to figure out how to save the entire world, do all of the work on myself before I was even open to the work that needed to be done there. But you finished it before ever encountering game B. You just finished it. He's like he's done his racism work, little white boy. So that's the like, anyway, the coming out of game B where I'm like, right, no, I get it. I do need everything that's gonna, my critique of game B, or my critique of any of the Elon Musks of the world who like people are waiting to save them. Meanwhile, people like me, like, that's not who they're gonna come from. The world works for Elon. The people the world doesn't work for is who's actually gonna solve it. And yet, we're never gonna listen to them. As somebody who knows how to save the world and nobody will listen to me, it's like, right, this is interesting. Because everyone else is on Mount Stupid on Dunning-Kruger, they don't know what they're good at and not good at. And so there's narcissists in the world and little Mount Stupid campers who like are good at everything. They have the overconfidence in absolutely everything they do. That's who's running the world. That's who we've let do everything. And so when an autistic person comes in and says, I'm good at this one area, this is the thing I know, we don't trust them because the other people are overconfident. The other people are overconfident. And so I live in a world where I can't trust any experts because every single area is populated by the people on Mount Stupid, because that's how humans human. We vote in the person with very low competence but high confidence. We vote in the idiot. We've designed a system that is run by idiots. We require idiots to run our system. And while we're ableist against people who are actually mentally disabled, and you're right, like all of that at once, all of that at the same time, all of the projection, all of the, and so why do we bring race into this? Both that whatever I'm doing, whatever it is that I'm doing and can't explain and can't, it's like Jubilee's jubileeing. I need both, whatever the thing is we're starting needs to be full of non-white people, and there's a lot of white people. It's the same tale as old as time. Every group, every time. And if I could actually tell the story I was going to tell in this, it would have been powerful. It would have been powerful. Which is like, again, the story of my life. I can have one-on-one conversations. I can explain a piece of it to someone who can like keep me on track, right? Probably. I could probably explain it. To someone who's interested, who wants to know. But the piece I really want to explain to people that this video is meant to explain, that I keep meaning to explain, and maybe I'll explain it now and then cut it and post that on Facebook, is knowing how to save the world is isolating in and of itself. Being me as an individual is already bad at relationships. Like my family, like my DNA is bad at relationships. Colonizing energy just went over the entire world, ran from our intergenerational family problems and connecting with the earth, and made it everybody else's problem. That is the history of colonization. That is the history of my ancestors. My ancestors historically, even when holistic, suck at relationships. Okay? Even when really good at them, they're all surface level. They fucking suck at them. That is white culture in general. That is capitalist, colonized, hyper-independent culture in general. Then I'm also autistic. Then happens that my family, the adult children, all of us are single as fuck. All of us don't have long-term relationships. And then just me as an individual, as an adult, I chose to be a single parent by choice. Like there's very clearly some relational issues. And yet I've still gone out and sought relationships and improved. And yet whatever this piece is, the other person needs to meet me. The other person has to see that I'm a tree planted and I need the other person to do whatever thing I can't do. And in relationships, that's like all of it. Like I need a household dedicated to living my life and this purpose that's coming through me. I need people more capable of gentle parenting than I am, right? I can't gentle parent the world. Clearly, I feed off of troll energy, but I need to be gentle parented. The world needs to be gentle parented. This is like hurt people hurting people all over the place. I am, I'm a hurt person. We're all hurt people, right? But I'm mostly healed, mostly not hurting people. And so I need people who are like at that level-ish or beyond, not the people who've never lived in community, right? If you've never lived with roommates, never had to come up against the friction of another human being, like actually, if you've never lived in intentional community and all of the rock polishing that goes on there, and you think it's going to be easy to live in community, you're probably not there, right? Like, yeah, there's a lot that's going on. So I was trying to keep this under an hour. We're just going to keep this here. I'm going to post it on my Facebook. It's not going to be what I thought it was, but like, I don't know what to say. Knowing how to save the world's isolating. I've isolated myself. I've now fully isolated to the point where I can't do a single thing without other people. I have agoraphobia. Maybe I need to be enabled. I don't know, but other people need to do the next part. All I can do is sit here and be like, I don't know. And yet, whatever's coming through me is the thing I'm focused on. I'm not working on a new project that's coming through all of us. I know who and what I am. Jubilee is a fucking revolution. Jubilee specifically has been doing something she didn't even know she was doing. I knew how to save the world with a technological cooperative. Logically, scientifically, with data and logic, knew how to save the world. Then 2023 happened, the 2004 movies. Dear God, this channel got started because the dots needed to be connected. Like, do I know what the dots mean? Do I know what it means that the Titanic, the Olympics, and 9/11 are connected? No, I don't. Do I know what it means that the MeanGirls, Electric Girls, and The Notebook, and the 2004 movies, and Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling? No, I don't. Do I know what it means that Kyle Cease and Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel all tied together with February 19th and child trafficking? And there's all these huge, huge themes that keep coming up. Child trafficking and suicide and climate change and all the things I've cared about my whole life. But the themes that keep coming up. And I have the solution to all of it. The solution. I have a solution. Solution raising is the solution. We can solve anything with a solution raising. You have to actually make the thing after. It has to actually get made after. Between peer coaching, solution raising, and we weave. I got it. I just, like, Jubilee's life needs to be, like, there's not a single thing I can do without other people. And I'm at that point where I'm like, right, and I can't people. I can't do whatever the next piece is that gets the people. That's going to be someone else who needs to do that. Someone else is better at the people part. That person is the person I need. I don't know. I don't know what the exact person, but I know it's one-on-one relationships, and it will be one-on-one relationships. So it'll be a person I find. They don't need to take it all on, right? They have to take on what's theirs to take on, what's in their ven, what they want to do, can do, and or where is going to help. And a couple hours, right? Like, I'm not looking to recreate hustle culture. I'm the embodiment of the opposite of hustle culture, coming out of a colonized hustle culture DNA, evangelical Christian upbringing. And I've been given the blessing of being a spoonie and getting disabilities where I've had to learn Pareto distribution. I've had to learn how to be a tree. And I can teach the world how to be a tree, because now the world's going to need to be trees, because humans force their humaning on everyone else, and now we're all going to have CFS. So good times, good times. Okay, I rambled for an hour. I'm going to go have a conversation soon.